So today I'm going to talk about my practice of Zen Buddhism. And I'd like to start by thanking my teachers, Sabana Bazagi and Jilly Coote, who I ran this talk by. When I was a child and went to church, we had this prayer. The minister prayed it every week, and I'm praying it now. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my Lord and my God. In Zen we have the precept, I take up the way of not speaking falsely. Not speaking falsely means not preaching a single word. So here I am about to say a great many words. My apologies for those. When I was a child, my father insisted that I could talk underwater. Or as the saying went, talk the leg off an iron pot. So what led me into a path where words are often inadequate and silence is the best response? There were 4 questions that I was thinking about in regard to this reflection. First one was, what led me to this path of Zen? The second one, as a Christian, what conflict did I find in following this path? Third one was, what do I find nourishing in Zen? And the last one, what do the 2 traditions, Zen and Christianity, have in common?
So Helen decided it would be helpful if I actually asked her these questions that we talked about together. So Helen, what led you on this path of Zen?
Well, as a young person, at school and university, I was, like many I expect, influenced by evangelical Christianity. I grew up in the Billy Graham era, and though my mother wouldn't let me attend those rallies because she thought I would be brainwashed, still, I became a fundamentalist anyway, and was sure I knew what was true. Youth is the age of knowing everything. If it appeared in the Bible and went along with what the teachers at the church said, it must be true. Anyone who did not agree with that version was most probably be likely to go to hell. Some of my nearest and dearest fell into that category, including my very devout grandmother. She didn't believe in that sort of thing. And for a while I prayed earnestly that people like that would be saved. But then I decided that it was a cruel and stupid belief, and if they were going to hell, then to hell with it all, that's where I'd rather go. I decided that truth with a capital T was much less certain or clear than I had originally believed, and so I began a search of other traditions, which included New Age thought and Hindu Vedanta teaching. I decided that what a person believed was more likely to be a result of geography, where you lived, than actually a testable truth. And I thought that many of the world religions, especially those with meditation traditions, would have much in common. I went to several meditation groups and maintained a meditation practice. All the while, I kept up coming to church because I felt this was my authentic tradition. About 7 years ago, I was working as an art therapist, and in art therapy, as in other psychology kind of professions, we have to have a supervisor. And I was talking to my supervisor about meditation and how I wanted to deepen my practice. And she, as a Buddhist teacher, suggested I try Zen, and that's what I did.
Helen, did you have any difficulties in reconciling the 2 traditions?
I certainly did. Initially, I felt disloyal to my Christian tradition, and also during Zazen, which is the formal sitting meditation session, we chant, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, which is the teaching, I take refuge in the Sangha, which is the community, and then we do this bow, the prostration. This all felt very foreign. Originally I used to change the words in my head to I take refuge in the Christ, I take refuge in the Bible, I take refuge in the church. But after a while, I realised that nobody at Sydney Zen was trying to make me give up my Christian tradition. I also understood that what was important was the present moment. In Zen, we have an expression, things are exactly as they are. While I was in the Buddhist temple, I could follow that tradition, and while in the church, follow the Christian tradition. By the same token, Pitt Street did not condemn me for following a Buddhist practice. I came to the point of view that the truth about God and religion is a mystery, as is the truth about who I am. Sometimes at Zen I will talk about Pitt Street and people will ask me if I'm a Christian. And I will say, I don't really know. I told my Zen teacher this and she said she didn't know who she was either. What is the nature of self and who I am is a big Zen question. But not only Zen, I suspect it's universal. Also in Zen, there's a lot of bowing and prostration in a meditation session. It's part of the ritual. At first, I found that confronting. So un-Australian, I thought. We don't bow to anybody. Definitely un-Protestant. I grew up in the Presbyterian church, and the most bowing we did was this. Only the Catholics knelt down, we thought. But I found out later that the Anglicans do too. I got over my horror of such bodily humility because it was explained that it's a sign of respect, not servility. Anyway, in Zen, it's very good to move your body because there's a lot of sitting still.
Helen, how does Zen nourish you?
Well, I find the practice of Zen quite austere and quite difficult, but also nourishing. It's an old tradition dating back to the 9th century, coming out of China and Japan. The earliest Zen sage, Bodhidharma, allegedly spent years facing a wall before becoming enlightened. So at a meditation session, which is known as Zazen, there's a period of chanting, bowing and bell ringing, all quite formal, followed by 3 25-minute periods of sitting facing the wall. In between these times, there's walking meditation. These days, I'm not very good at sitting on the floor. My back aches, so I sit on a chair instead of a cushion. But the really major problem or challenge, apart from my body, is my mind, which jumps around. However, having 3 periods of meditation is helpful because by the third one, my mind it's come down a little bit and it's a little bit quieter. During these sitting periods, there's an opportunity to have a private interview with the teacher in which the student can talk about their meditation practice. When I have an interview with the teacher, it's a time of honesty and kindness. My teacher recently reminded me of a practice that is perfect for me, as it gives my busy mind a variety of thoughts and words to hang on to, or better still, let go of. And I thought, to break up this talk, we could do that practice now. But I need to step off this and get...
You can put this one.
Okay. Oh, I hope I haven't turned it off. Can you hear me now? Okay, this is a meditation which was recommended by Thich Nhat Hanh, and he used the bell as a reminder to people to return to a place of quiet within themselves and to come back home, as it were. I thought we'd have the bell too, and then I'd ask you all to just sit comfortably. Usually it's best, if you can manage it, to have your back fairly straight and your hands resting comfortably in your lap. And you might, if you feel like it, you might like to close your eyes. So I'll ring the bell to start and talk us through it. I am aware that I am breathing in. I am aware that I am breathing out. I am aware that I am breathing in. I am aware that I am breathing out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Breathing in, I breathe deep. Breathing out, I breathe slow. Breathing in, I breathe deep. Breathing out, I breathe slow. Deep, slow. Deep, slow. Deep, slow. Breathing in, I feel calm. Breathing out, I feel ease. Breathing in, I feel calm. Breathing out, I feel ease. Calm, ease. Calm, ease. Calm, ease. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. Smile, release. Smile, release. Smile, release. Breathing in, I know that I am in the present moment. Breathing out, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I know that I am in the present moment. Breathing out, I know this is a wonderful moment. Present moment, wonderful moment. Present moment, wonderful moment. Present moment, wonderful moment. I find the meditation practice intimate. I become intimate with my mind and all its frustrating habits. I come to understand my need to be kind to myself and my mind and not berate it. Mind you, I did a lot of berating on the way here today. Some people do breath meditation, and they become intimate with their breath and its quality. Some do a loving kindness meditation. This consists of words like, may I have loving kindness for myself. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be liberated in this very life. And some do koan work. They concentrate on a question for which there is no logical answer, like what is the sound of one hand clapping, or who is hearing that sound? A Christian koan might be, in the beginning was the Word. What is the Word? Meditators live with the koan or question till the koan inhabits them. All these are ways of becoming enlightened or realising the nature of life. And then after the sitting, when there is so much formality, everyone has a cup of tea and a chat. It seems that the process of meditation, when so much that is inessential drops away, promotes intimacy and often lightheartedness. among the community of meditators. This is one of the great pleasures of the practice.
Helen, what common ground do you see between the two traditions that you follow?
I see both traditions as threads. On the table I put two threads of ribbons, one coming out of the Christ image and one coming out of the Buddha image. Sometimes they intersect, and sometimes they're separate. Both the Christian community at Pitt Street and the Zen community understand the fact that all life is interconnected. So both traditions are concerned with the environment and social justice, issues like refugees and marriage equality. I think often when there's demonstrations, there's a community of Sydney Zen people and a community of Pitt Street people all at the same event. Where am I? In both traditions recognise the need to express goodness. In Zen we say, apart from the community there is no Buddha. And when Jesus said, I am the vine and you are the branches, he said much the same thing. Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Vietnamese teacher, suggested that the act of mindfulness is similar in effect to the Holy Spirit, the healing qualities of the Holy Spirit. There are theological differences. Buddhism does not have God as the foundation. It does posit the central idea of emptiness. It is emptiness in the heart of everything into which everything flows. Maybe this idea also presents itself in Christian meditation practice, I'm not sure, but I think it could. Christianity often suggests that suffering is a result of sin. Whereas Buddhism does not refer to sin, it does see that suffering is caused by attachment to a particular outcome and also by the practice of greed, hatred and ignorance. Some Buddhists believe in reincarnation, but at Sydney Zen, as at Pitt Street, not a lot of attention is paid to questions of life after death. Buddhists have the metta or loving kindness practice, and Christians know they should love their neighbour as themselves. I find much benefit in either practice, and I can only talk about the specific ones I go to, Sydney Zen Community and Pitt Street Uniting Church. These days when I'm at Zen, that's what I do, and when I'm at Pitt Street, that's the practice I engage in. It's a case of present moment, wonderful moment. I love both practices and communities and consider myself to be doubly blessed in having not one but two spiritual homes.